Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Singapore Sevens. Two sides having very different first matches. South Africa getting themselves a massive win over the Spanish, whereas Samoa, they were left scoreless up against the French. And of course, at the moment for the Samoans, they are outside of the top 8, which means if they are unable to get themselves pretty much a title win here, more than likely they will be going head to head with a few of the other sides trying to buy their spot back in the series. But for the South Africans, brilliant first performance, like I mentioned, up against the Spanish. They've gone with a similar lineup here, including Kieran Nokia, Devold Human, Shilton Van Vyk, Selvin Davids, who did manage to score himself the first try of the last match, Tian Pretorius, Christy Hrobela, and also Impivisa, who I felt had an outstanding game up against Spain. Was able to really keep it tight and also get some very, very good work done in the breakdown. I assume this game will be no different. For the Samoans, it is going to be Des Sepulona Fiao, also Pauleti Slater, Yuna Sioni, Valvasa Afasua, Tuna Tuitama, Steve Onisai, and Daniel Patalesio, the last man in that Samoan starting lineup. Hey, Hamish in chat says, bystander, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. And hi, all, and Hamish says Robert and the chat as well. But do let me know your score predictions for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Boys getting it done, but injury concerns for the Blues. And yeah, like, that's the thing. They're managing to beat the Rebels, which is great news for them. But at what cost is it going to be? They look like, they've lost a couple decent players at the moment due to injury. So hopefully it isn't anything as serious as it does look. Speaking of injuries, we actually just saw in the USA versus Ireland game, Joe Schrader did go down. That is a massive hit to the USA, definitely, as they are currently sitting in 9th place. They are the side, 8th place. They are the side that could end up losing their spot in the top 8 to either Samoa, Spain, or Great Britain. Nasty Costes Blues. Now, good afternoon, Hamish. Thanks for the commentary. Go the box. Says Joss Pike. Of course, the Blitzboks, if they can back up their performance from the last game, they will be more than happy to go on and get themselves 2 wins from 2 in the early stages of the Singapore competition. They've been a little way away from making the final in Singapore over the last few years. I believe the last time they made a final was 2019. Prior to that, they had managed to get themselves the 2 titles in the Singapore Sevens. Currently only 8 seconds remaining in that Ireland versus USA game, though. Of course, those 2 sides, different pool. They are in the grouping alongside Fiji and Great Britain. These 2 sides just about to go head-to-head. And also a little bit later on tonight, ladies and gents, we are going to be covering the game between Argentina and New Zealand. Should be a very intriguing one. But South Africa, they are definitely one of the dark horses, I would say, of this competition, because as they start to get further and further towards the playoff games, which are going to be in only about a month's time, when pretty much the overall deciding of the competition for 2023-24 will be decided, I think that is where we'll see the Blitzboks at their very best. And that is a little bit concerning for the sides such as Argentina, who a lot of people have felt have already played their best rugby sevens for the year. The Springboks Sevens side, they are sitting in 7th at the moment on the overall standings. Samoa, they are sitting in 11th. So these 2 sides, of course, very different paths in the future. Currently, Ireland do have the ball on the halfway line, like I mentioned. As soon as this game is over, we will be straight in to the next one. But looking at the bench for the Blitzboks, Tristan Lades, Savue Sawyers Wapi recently returning onto the scene after a major knee injury. Also alongside him, we have seen Dylan Sage make his way through. Zane Davids and Roscoe Speckman, who scored a try very late in the last contest. And then for the Samoans, Fa'afoi Falaniko, Malakisi Masifau, Tom Maeva, who I thought's kicking was pretty good in the last match, Pesi Leilua, and then also Misatia, the last man off the bench for the Samoans. But do let me know your score predictions, ladies and gents. For me, on the preview, I did predict that the Blitzboks would win this game 26 points to 7, and that felt a little bit harsh. But every game that we've witnessed of Samoa over the last maybe 2 legs or so, the handling errors are just something that has hurt them so much. Every game that we think, yep, they'll have a chance, then they put the ball down. And I mentioned about it for South Africa and their game up against the Spanish. The way that you can take down the Blitzboks is you have to be, 1, more disciplined than them, And also you have to put pressure on them in the breakdown, because that is when we sometimes see the South Africans have a few little errors and then they start giving away penalties, can end up with a man in the bin. They love playing physical rugby. It looks like USA are about to win the game up against the Irish, so that should keep their hopes of staying above the top 8 well and truly on the cards. But then I should also mention that in that grouping, that gives Fiji a little bit more of a chance of being able to move through to the next stage, where they could find themselves up against the likes of South Africa, if it all works out that way. But the quarterfinals are tomorrow night. Ladies and gentlemen, South Africa do have a game tomorrow where they will be going head-to-head with, I believe, it will be Great Britain in that game. No, that's the wrong group. USA, oh sorry, not USA. South Africa have got France. They are going to be playing France tomorrow. And their next contest will be very intriguing, but just about to make their way onto the field. That Ireland versus USA game ran a little bit later than it was supposed to, which is why there's been a slight delay to the start of this contest. But currently in Pool C, USA are sitting top of the bunch with 2 wins from 2 on the 6 points. Ireland are sitting in second on the 4. But Great Britain, I believe they actually find themselves in last at the moment, or I believe Fiji should be in last, actually, now that I think about it. South Africa and Samoa, like I mentioned, 7th versus 11th. Do let me know your predictions for this contest, ladies and gentlemen, and who you think will walk away with the victory. But the two sides just about to make their way out of the tunnel. This match has an important feel to it at the moment. South Africa are trying to build as much momentum as they can, because we've got to remember they are pretty much the only top side at the moment who are not qualified for the Olympic Games. They actually were defeated by Kenya in the qualification process, so they still have to play a few more games. I believe that's going to be taking place in Monaco after the Sevens competition has come to a close. Samoa, they have already booked their spot in the Olympics. Same with Fiji, New Zealand, Argentina, Australia, France, Ireland, all of those sides. Now, Adam Leal going to be in charge of this one. 74th match for that man. Got a stadium roof on this one, so the rain, if there was any, wouldn't affect it. And the World Human looks like he's given the ball to Selvin Davids. Now, the last game that the Blitzboks played, Selvin Davids had the ball in hand, and then they gave it off to the World Human to take the kickoff. I wonder whether or not they will try that tactic again, but we are just about underway. We got the 3-2-1. The whistle has been blown, and Selvin Davids now, for the Blitzboks, will get us underway. Taking some deep breaths here, though. And taking his time, probably about 15 seconds before he did decide to kick that ball off. Slapped back by the Blitzboks. The ball is competitive, or at least contestable. I think we saw a knock-on from Samoa, maybe a knock-on from South Africa as well. Looks like the referees just said play on. We don't worry about the scrum. And Fiji should win against Great Britain 21-19. Didn't hit the handbro. Yeah, that one was unfortunate for them. I mentioned about it at the time, though, like, as unfortunate as it was for the Fijians, that's another handling error from Samoa, right as I mentioned earlier on, that they have not been able to hold on to that ball too well. But yeah, the problem with Fiji in that game was not so much that last minute handling error per se. Like, yes, it was off the shin, but they shouldn't have had to rely on the last 40 seconds to be able to score 2 tries to win that game. Like, they had more than the capabilities of getting the job done early. Is it unfortunate the way that it ended? Absolutely. But should it have gone down to the wire like that? Not at all. I think Fiji should have been able to beat them by a good 10 points, and they weren't able to do that, unfortunately, for the Fijians. Looking to the short side now, Selvin Davids breaking off the back of the scrum, 15 metres out from the line at the moment for the South Africans. The World Human has been able to rip that ball away, so it is now going to be available for the Blitzboks. 15 metres from the try line. Christy Robela goes across to Impi Visa. Another flick pass out to Selvin Davids. Numbers on this left-hand side. Looks like Tian Pretorius now going to back himself to go through. But he's dragged down by Vawasa Afasua. And if I sub your video, we have me in your membership. Says Sabanatha, have you in your membership? unfortunately, like YouTube they haven't got the ability yet of being able to pick who you give a membership to. They have like the option to gift memberships, but that could go to any one of the 46,000 subscribers that we've got. But subscribing is completely free and it won't cost you anything, and you'll just get notified of when we do go live. Great work in the breakdown from Tuna Tuitama. They were only 5 metres out from their line, South Africa, but they have been able to shut that one down, the Samoans, and get the penalty. Looks like now oh no, in fact that's going to be Pipisana Patafilo. Or is it? Who is that going to be, in fact? Might have been Daniel Patalisio, in fact, who is going to be kicking that one towards the touchline. Over the ball, Tuna Tuitami, slowly starting to find his rhythm here since returning to the 7th circuit only a little while ago. Let's go South Africa, says Carmen. And the chat as well, 4 minutes remaining in this first half. Currently still 0-0 between these two sides. Both have more than enough capabilities of being able to score. I do expect that South Africa would get themselves to try early on. Let's see whether or not that happens though. Now nicely passed across from Sipolona Fiao, a little bit high from Impivisa on Paulette Slater. Wrestled down to the turf, 45 metres out from their own line now. Nice pass short from Patalisio. Some good physicality being shown by both of these sides in the early stages of the match. Paulette Slater goes out wide. A little bit isolated for Yunasioni, but he got the next pass away to Paulette Slater. Now carving up the middle. Tuna Tuitama taken down by DeWalt Human. A lot of Blitzboks players right next to the breakdown. So if Samoa can shift it wide and get their passing right, they should be in open space. Steve Onisai finds the offload away after Nokia. Makes the tackle on him. Eti Slater. There's an injury here for DeWalt Human when he tackled Tuna Tuitama. And it looks like Tuna Tuitama is going to run straight at him. Gets the ball off on the inside. Made the most of the injury. And Yunasioni scores it. But the concern for the Blitzboks is DeWalt Human is down with a knee injury here. I don't know how serious it is, but it didn't look flash for him. Looks like he did go down pretty hard. And I think that was from the initial tackle that he made on Tuna Tuitama. Ended up with that knee twisting at an awkward angle. He's not the type of player you want to lose at this point, that is for sure. But that is the early try for the Samoans, and I'm sure they will be more than happy with being able to score the opening try in this contest. The kick. Looks like has missed. The World Human is still down here, though. We saw a bad injury in the last game for Joe Schrader. It's pretty much the opposite size to the World Human in terms of their height and weight, but he's going to be taken from the field here. The World Human, hopefully he's going to be all right. Enjoy my beef cheeseburger. Says Ruth. And Samoa better get their act together. And greetings, Hamish and Kiwi Lads fans. And Samoa come on back from shopping. Says Ruth, and Kiwi Lad says, Spider Mick, welcome in, mate. You are keeping well. But now, kicked off, nicely taken by Selvin Davids. Ball's going to be there on the 22. Hi, Hamish, bro. How are you and how's Uncle and Auntie doing? All right. I am currently fighting off a bit of a cold. But other than that, yeah, not doing too badly. Tristan Lades goes back across to the left-hand side. Now skip pass is going to be the advantage for being offside. Chance here for Shilton Van Vyk to feed it to TM Pretorius out wide. Nokia. They're not going to catch him. He puts the ball down. It won't be the easiest kick of the day, but it is the first try of the match for South Africa, the 12th of Nokia's 2024. It's breakfast time for me, says Robert. And there was a great attacking run from Christie. Oh, was he? I thought his foot was out there. Tell you what, at halftime we may even have a look back at it and see whether or not that foot did touch the touchline. But at the end of the day, it is play on until said otherwise. South Africa made the most of the chance, and they do score themselves a try. Don't forget your honey, orange, and ginger, Hamish. Says Ruth. Now lining up this kick for the South Africans, and just falling short and to the right. So the score is going to be 5-5 between these two sides. I mentioned about momentum and who this game means more for. Samoa are outside of the top 8 at the moment. But I don't know, with the USA getting the results that they have recently, I don't believe that Samoa can actually get back into that top 8 like they need. Poeti Slater going back across, yes, nice passing across. Sione gets it away now. Big Finn coming in from Pilat. Oh, in fact, no. Who was that? Was that Poeti Slater? Who was running forward there for the Samoans? In fact, they may have made an early change by the looks of it to their side. Vawasa Apasoa gets the off the way to Poeti Slater. Now going to the left-hand side to Tuna Tuitama. Trying to get into that breakdown and protect the ball, and he's done well there. Patalasio. They take in the tap, or in fact, they've kicked that one into touch. You Kiwi have 2 Popeyes open in the north. Do we? I know that they've got one in, I think it's Auckland, isn't it? And then one in Taupo's coming before the end of the year, but I'm not sure whether we've got 2 yet opening up in New Zealand. I know that there's 2 scheduled, but yeah, the one in, I think it was Auckland, did open up relatively recently. There's going to be halftime in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. 5-5 as the score. It is extremely close between these 2 sides, and that is the way it will probably stay right till the final whistle. Now, I ended up predicting in my preview that the score would be 26 points to 5 in favour of the South Africans, and at the moment that does not seem like it is a likeliness. In fact, this game seems like it's going to be maybe split by 7 or less, so of course that would benefit both sides getting at least 1 point from this contest. Samoa might have got fired up now, says Roof. Well, the big thing for them there was their passing was a lot more crisp than it was in their game up against France. And yes, they had a few handling errors, but nowhere near as many as they've had in their other games. So if they can back up what they did in the first half in the second, we're going to have a game that does go down to the wire. But if they can't back it up, I think that South Africa eventually will use that bench to their advantage. We've got to remember, they've got some very handy players, whether that's Savue Soyers Wapi, whether that's Zane Davids. Those men will make their way off the bench fresh as a daisy, come onto the park, empty the gas tank, because we've got to remember as well, in this competition for the Singapore Sevens, you've only got 2 games each day rather than the 3, so you can well and truly go for it. Of course, don't want to avoid injury, seeing as we did see the early injury of the World Human. Hopefully he is going to be all right. I don't know whether he's going to be able to continue in this competition. It's more so the question of whether or not he will be available to continue in the future. Oh, we will go like this. And like that as well. Yeah, we are ready to go for the second half. And Takanini, says Robert. Currently 11:33 p.m. here in New Zealand. The next game that we are covering is taking place in about an hour's time between New Zealand and Argentina. Be sure to check that one out all throughout tomorrow. We've got Super Rugby, we've got Sevens, and we've got a whole heap of Champions Cup action alongside Challenge Cup as well on the channel. But nicely taken there by the Samoans, who do have to release, taken by South Africa. Samoa do have to release. Tristan Lades going across, he had a good impact in that last contest. Cut out pass from Shilton van Veek. Finds the ball into the hands of Kuanokia. And the penalty does go the way of South Africa. Rugby for days, says Sebastian. Yeah, there is plenty happening in the next kind of 48 hours or so. Although, of course, in about 51 hours' time, we're going to get to see the Quins in action up against Toulouse. If South Africa loses this, we may see a knock-on effect. No third World Cup in a row, says Cool Story Bro. Although it's always very tricky to judge with how far out we are from that next Sevens World Cup. Of course, the Olympic Games is the next one on the cards. But at this current point in time, South Africa have not qualified for the Olympics. They have to make sure that they win the Monaco Sevens that is taking place in the near future. So that will be one of the main things that they are looking at here. Just trying to find some very good form. Try and take out maybe the World Sevens title, and then also go on and get themselves the Olympics title as well. Got to go soon. My friend's taking me for tea, or for cake and tea. Hamish will have extra piece for Hamish, says Ruth. I do like a bit of cake, that is for sure. Now Kua Nokia going back across, looping around. Salvin Davids. It's too much speed. Wrestled down, but he's going to be over the try line. And once again, he's an impact player. He's an X factor for this Blitzboks side. And he scored his 10th try on the Sevens circuit now for 2023-24 season. Just backs himself, has the pace. Eddie Slater managed to grab the jersey, tried to scrag him down, but in the end just wasn't quite able to say thank you for cake, Hamish. I haven't got the cake yet, though. Do enjoy a mango flavoured cake, Grant. I feel like they're obviously the best, aren't they? There we go there, the try emoji from Sebastian there. And yeah, come on, the box in time for the good. Oh, the try. Good try, the box. Says the roof. Now, 5 minutes remaining. The kick has actually missed. Is it? Surely not. He was straight out in front. I wasn't actually looking at it. But if he has missed that kick, that is a massive mistake for the Blitzboks. Trying to slip that one back, but it's nicely taken by Tunatui Tama, who's wrestled down by Zane Davids with a good leg chop. Now Steve on his side tries to pick and go. 4 South African players get in the breakdown. Shut your dirty little mouth with that mango nonsense. Chocolate and mango cake for Grant. Says Sebastian, now you're talking. That sounds like a dream. In fact, we might have to make one on the channel, perhaps. Building 10 stores in New Zealand in 2024, says Robert. And yes, says Carmen. And there are as well. And Sevens is all about the scrums. See you later, brother Hamish. Says, cool story, bro. Is it? I mean, don't get me wrong. The scrum is handy in a game of Sevens. But, like, most of the time, even the worst sides can get a ball in and out of a scrum. Whereas in Union, when your scrum's bad, you get exposed. I think that Sevens is all about that strategy of where the gaps are and also working hard in the breakdown, trying to get more position. Now out wide, Shilton van Vyk steps and he's got the ball down and carrot and mango cake. And none of those things I eat. Says Grant, well then there's more for me and Seb, isn't there? What type of cake, Hamish? Caramel, chocolate and cream? That sounds delightful, doesn't it? 10th try for Shilton van Vyk as well. Now this game getting a little bit more one-sided than the Samoans would have liked. Trying to stop him from getting that ball down was Yunisioni, actually holding him up off the ground. But in the end, Shilton van Vyk, his arms were just long enough to get that one down. None, no scrum, no fun. Says, cool story, bro. I don't actually think, have we had a scrum in this game, cool story, bro? I don't actually know if we have yet. No wonder you're not enjoying it. They haven't had any scrums. Oh, mango cake, not South African, sounds legit. Getting mangoes like Samoa given mangoes boys, says Francois. You do eat chocolate though, 18 plus humour, says Sebastian. And good to see the box open a little gap. We have been poor for a while, says Joss Pike. And yeah, this will be the second win in a row for South Africa if they are able to continue at this rate, although they have dropped the ball off the kickoff there, Samoa. But I think it actually was already in touch, was it? Okay, it was knocked into touch, sorry, by South Africa. Never had a mango cake. Neither have I. I just want to try one because Grant doesn't like mangoes. And of it comes in a wrapper, says Grant. 2 minutes remaining. 10 points difference between these two sides, ladies and gentlemen. If there's ever a time to get it right now, is the time for Samoa. This is for a spot at the next stage of the Sevens competition. If they do not get themselves a win here, it would mean that they do find themselves playing off for their spot on the standings and the circuit. Penalty goes the way of the Samoans. Now running forward, looking for that pass. I believe that's going to be accidental offside from Sage. That's going to be a deliberate knock-on, in fact, from South Africa. So that is going to be a yellow card for Roscoe Speckman. Last 90 seconds, South Africa going to be playing with less men on the field. He's disappointed about it as well, Roscoe Speckman. Yes, Mango is my favourite. It's a good answer, Carmen. Like I said, 35th tournament for Roscoe Speckman. Yeah, unfortunately, he's got very unlucky, Roscoe Speckman, chocolate and cake. It's not as bad as the Devil's Test Score. That is a mango, says Grant. I'd love to see a video of you trying a mango, Grant. I feel like it would be peak peak entertainment, I would say. Now going off to the left-hand side, Steve Unisai feeds it out wide now. It looks like the gaps aren't really opening up in the South African defence. Only 60 seconds remaining on the clock now. Oh, almost an interception chance for the South Africans. Been a while, Hamish. And Zambia shooting flies with a assault gun, says Jaco Vandenberg. To be fair, they advertised those here in New Zealand, and I think a lot of people bought them because it looks quite fun. To be fair, probably not fun for the flies, but that's all right. I can almost forgive for not liking chocolate and mango more than not liking fish. The one is truly a shocker, Mr. Schwartz, says Sebastian. I just found a Filipino bakery in town. Nice. Oh, South Africa losing their footing. Another penalty. Now, I have to wonder, were they trying to give away a penalty on purpose in the breakdown to slow down this game? Because if so, it's worked perfectly. Inside ball to Steve Unisai. Now Fiao puts the ball across. Chance for Samoa to try and get themselves one last try that would give them a bonus point and keep their hopes of making it through to the next stage alive. They're running for the corner, Samoa. They will get their second try. It will not win them the game, but it will get them a little bit closer. I'd rather eat the bottom of my shoe after walking through a pig farm. That's a bit drastic, isn't it, Grant? Just eat the fish, mate. We have got the Granty for you, brandy and nuts cake, says Roof. And also Fish and Chips is live, and the Blues beat the Rebels 38 points to 11, says Carmen. And there as well goes South Africa, says Rudy. So the try coming back for the Samoans. Points differential, this could help them out a little bit. Of course, they are going to have to get themselves the win over Spain in the next contest to really boost themselves up. Fried chips, says Garmin, and see you all later, says Roos. So the next game that we have got, ladies and gentlemen, that will be in 45 minutes' time. The kick has missed, so that is going to make the score 15 points to 10, the win for South Africa. I want mango cake from Limpopo. Sweet, soft, freaking lekker, says Francois. And Grant, what about crackers? Says Ruth. And there's and yes, South Africa 1, says Carmen. So yeah, as the Pool B currently sits, I believe we do see South Africa at the top of the bunch on the 2 wins. Then as it currently sits, it is Samoa in second. No, sorry, France in second, Samoa third, Spain fourth. The way that it is currently sitting. And that will be the bonus point, of course, for the Samoans with how that game finished. And Kay, says Carmen in there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. The next game, like I mentioned, it's going to be about 45 minutes away. And it is going to be an exciting one between New Zealand and Argentina. What did you think of the Under-20 Rugby Championship? I think that they were very unlucky with the weather. Because, honestly, if the game wasn't played on a flooded field, I think that New Zealand versus South Africa would have been an absolutely awesome contest. It still was pretty intense, the way that it finished with it being 13-13. But if that game was played in the dry, it probably would have been match of the competition and also really would have done wonders for launching that competition, whereas instead people kind of went, 13-13, without getting to see the field, if that makes sense. Like Hamish, the sleep talker, says Francois, and stay still, New Zealand play Argentina, says Carmen. And also Howdy Hammy caught a few nice fish last night after this victory. Fresh fish, lemon butter, fresh bread, sliced tomato. Wish you could share it with you, thanks Amy. Says Obi, sounds like you had a relatively decent evening. Well, it sounds with Obi, and yeah, mango cake, says Carmen. And there's only Hamish. And South Africa, yes, says Carmen there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Like I said, we are going to be back for the next contest that is taking place in 45 minutes' time. That will be New Zealand versus Argentina. And I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you all for the next one, as well as tomorrow. We got more action. South Africa, they will be taking on none other than the French. Samoa will be taking on the Spanish. And then the winner of those games maybe will find themselves through to the quarterfinals, which are also taking place tomorrow. Can you discuss schedule, says Obi? Kind of. I'm still a little bit unsure about what's on the cards for tomorrow, if I'm being completely honest, but at the moment, we've got a couple maybes, which are the first 2 games of Super Rugby. if we do the Crusaders versus Reds, we would have to cut off probably just after half time with the Sevens games that are taking place afterwards. I tried to find someone to help with that game, and then I kind of had someone lined up, and then they said, nah, they can't in the end. So, yeah, it would probably be half of that game if we do end up covering it. Sharks at 1 versus Clermont. We are hoping to also do that game. We've got a few other games of the Sevens as well. Brumbies versus Fiji and draw will depend on who is playing in the quarterfinals. So there's still a lot of unconfirmed, but one game out of everything that is completely confirmed, and of course there's a lot of pretty much confirmed, but completely confirmed is Leinster versus Northampton at 4:30 a.m. for the Champions Cup semi-final. That is 100% locked in at the moment. There are a lot of other games that are pretty much 99% locked in. I just need to get the schedule all worked out, but we will be scheduling them after that New Zealand versus South Africa, New Zealand versus Argentina game later on tonight, probably about an hour or two after that, probably 2 hours, just to give me some more leeway to work out how I'm going to manage this. But yeah, we got probably 10 hours of streaming tomorrow anyway. Overall rankings, please. Which rankings are you after? Like in the overall standings or just the groups at the moment? The overall standings, Argentina are top of the bunch. Then it goes Ireland, then Fiji, France, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and USA. They are all the sides currently that are confirmed almost to be going through to the finals, which is taking place in Madrid. The only side out of all of them that is not confirmed is actually the USA. They have to wait to see how Great Britain go and whether or not they are ranked that little bit higher in the overall standings. And cool, thank you, says Robert, in there as well. But nonetheless, like I mentioned, 40 minutes time or so is the next live stream, which we are going to be doing between New Zealand and Argentina. And then we'll have a little bit more of an idea about how teams are standing and who needs to do what to make it through to the next stage. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all for the next one.